little before 10 o'clock this morning, officers were called mid-block on Mead Street for the report of a person shot. When they arrived, they found a male in his late 20s, shot multiple times. Unfortunately, he was pronounced dead at the scene. All we know at this point in time is that he was in his vehicle when he was shot at multiple times and struck multiple times. We do not have any suspects in custody, and we're obviously asking for anybody that has any information to give us a call.
Had he been there for a while, or?
We're still looking at it. He may have just pulled up. Really too early to tell. We're still trying to piece that together. So I do not know if he was sitting in the vehicle there for a while or if he had just pulled up.
Give an age? Right?
Late 20s. Late 20s. Probably be able to release the victim's name, hoping later this evening.
When you say pulled up, you mean he might have been shot elsewhere?
No, the shooting definitely happened here. He was sitting in his car. I don't know if he was sitting there for a long period of time or if he had just pulled up and parked. It's still too early for us to say that, but he was sitting in his vehicle when somebody came up and shot him multiple times. And they attempted life-saving measures at the scene, but didn't help.
Do we know if there's any relationship between the victim and the shooter?
We do not know if there's any relationship between the victim and the shooter. The victim does have family on the street, but we do not know the motive or the relationship between the suspect and the victim at this point in time yet.
Are you connecting this with a recent string of carjackings in the city?
We have no information at this point leading us to believe it's connected to any of the carjackings.
This was a chaotic scene when we showed up. What made it so chaotic in terms of, were you looking for the shooter at that point when he showed up?
No, like I said, the victim's family does live on the street. So once word of the shooting got out, there was abundance of family, obviously very distraught about their loved one being needlessly shot and killed. So I think the sheer volume of people out at 10 o'clock in the morning, coupled with the fact that he did have a lot of family that was here shortly thereafter.
Business owners we talked to on the street, they said they're fed up with this violence and they need some change. They basically said, when city council was trying to cut the forest, they wanted not to happen. What's your message to the business owners and the residents here?
My message to the business owners and the residents here is I feel their pain. I feel sorry for them. It's time they need to speak up. They need to make their voices heard. There's a lot of things going on that I'm not going to get into, but I feel their pain. I understand their pain, and their voices need to be heard. And they need to be heard loud and clear.
Do you know what they're saying, like business owners specifically, if you talk to them?
Yeah, I know what they're saying. Everybody's pretty much sick of the lawlessness that's been going on, and a lot of the decisions that are being made, quite frankly, just don't make sense when you think about what's been going on and what the city's been plagued with over the last bunch of months, actually over the last year. It's really mind-boggling. So I have talked to a bunch of them. I know what they're saying, and quite frankly, I agree with them. And there's somebody looking down from another planet saying what's going on. I think they would say the same thing.
But where do we go from here? I mean, it's not even May, and we're seeing warmer weather, and we're already seeing all this violence. So many people in the community that I speak to are just all shaking.
And I agree. I'm shaken too, and I feel their pain, and I understand their pain, and I understand their frustration, and they need to make their voices heard. We can get our arms around the problem, and when I say we, I don't mean the police department. It's a community effort. It needs to be the police department, it needs to be the community members, it needs to be the judges who are letting people out the next day. We have a murder suspect out on bail who gets locked up for 2 or 3 different gun charges while he's out on bail, and he's released the next day. So it's not the police department, it's the police, it's the community, it's the judges, it's the leaders in this community, government leaders, community leaders. It's a group effort. This is not a problem the police department alone can solve. We need help, and we want people's help, and I agree with the business owners, and I agree with the residents. And we're here to do what we can to help them, but we're one small wheel in the justice system.
You've been on the force for a long time. Is this as frustrated as you've been on the force since you've been here?
Yes, I've been on 28, 29 years. I've never seen it like this for a multitude of factors. It's extremely frustrating. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. We got a lot of good business owners down here that are just trying to make a living. And you got a lot of good people that live in the community. When it's 10 o'clock in the morning and somebody's getting shot a whole bunch of times sitting in their car, it's frustrating.
Talk about the life-saving efforts. Did he die on scene?
Yes, he was pronounced dead on the scene. And life-saving efforts, you know, the officers attempted life-saving measures, as well as the fire department that responded as well.
Frank, this is the second homicide in a week within a couple of blocks. And I don't know. Albert was telling us earlier that there's been 5 in the Clinton area this year. Is it something about this neighborhood, or is it?
You know, I don't know if it's this neighborhood, Todd. It's all over the place. I mean, certainly Clinton Avenue has been impacted, maybe more so than other parts of the city. You know, and I can't confirm the numbers that Albert gave out, but that sounds about right. I don't think it's anything specific with Clinton Avenue. I think it's just everywhere right now in general.
How troubling was this happened in front of a daycare?
How many times have we heard of people getting hit with stray bullets lately? And it's going to happen. It's going to happen again. It might happen later tonight. It may happen tomorrow. And the fact that there's a daycare right here, you know, I hate to think of, you know, what could have happened if one of those bullets did not hit its intended target. Scary.
Thanks, Frank.
All right, you guys good?
Thank you.